little bit and just check and see how you guys are doing. And I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. I mean, to be honest, I have been in my own little bubble. The whole craziness and the COVID kind of hit me hard when I realized I couldn't go back home to Hawaii to see my daughter. So my daughter's still back in Hawaii living with her dad. She's going to community college there. Her boyfriend's there. Her dog is there. So she just felt more comfortable staying there instead of having to start all over again in California. And so, I was fine with that. She, very logical, she explained everything to me and I went with it. And I was totally fine with everything. I check in with them every now and again, but I was just like, oh, I wasn't there for her birthday. And I started to, feel a little sad. And then this is when I noticed that, the habits that I was doing being home alone. And so that's what I kind of wanted to address today. I just wanted to come here and talk to you guys and see if any of you are feeling stir crazy and feeling overwhelmed because there's so many things to get done. And so I wanted to address a couple of things, and I'm not one to just sugarcoat things, so this one might go a little bit deep, so just follow along and hopefully you guys will resonate with what I'm saying. So many of us mothers, especially mothers who work, we are so busy being busy. Do you know what that means? I was working 60, 70 hours a week, and my husband worked similar shifts that I worked. Have one kid in high school, one kid in junior high, so sports and getting kids to things when they still don't drive was a whole thing. And at the time, my son was going through therapy and stuff, processing some of the things that we went through during my divorce and things. And so there was just a lot of stuff happening, with all the kids, with the work and all of that. And it was in that season when I got diagnosed with adrenal burnout. So if those of you who don't know what that is, I think most of you in this group probably know what that is. But what it is my adrenal glands, I pushed them too hard. There was too much stress in my body, and they pretty much gave up. They said, I can't, they're putting out. There's actually 4 stages of adrenal burnout. There's stage 1 where you're kind of overwhelmed, and then there's stage 2 where your adrenaline spikes, and then there's stage 3 where your adrenal gland is the one that gives out last. So in stage 3, what happens is your hormone production, your sexual hormones and stuff, stop producing the way that they're supposed to. And then stage 4 is when your adrenal gland is like, I'm done, I give up, and then he stops making stuff too. So cortisol is the main hormone in this case, and so my cortisol level was at 0.8. I think I've shared this with most of you, and I even said it on the summit. So if you saw my interview during the summit, I mentioned it there. But I was forced to stay home for 3 months after working 70 hours a week. So I did 6 12-hour shifts. Union contract says we have to get 1 day off. So we did a 6 and 1. I was doing 6 and 1s for months. I don't even know how long we were on 6 and 1 because we were just shorthanded. Because I was in a management position. So the management positions, we were short-staffed, and there's only so many of us that could work those shifts, and so we kind of had to take turns. Everyone has their own kids, right? So I feel like I need to bring this microphone closer to me. Let me know if that works better, if you can hear me better. And so I was so used to being busy that it was hard for me to rest. I mean, even with time off, I had really like no obligation outside of the home. So I was kind of forced into quarantine. I mean, of course, I took my daughter to school, but because I was out on sick leave, I couldn't be traipsing all over the island. It's a small island. If someone saw me at the beach or whatever, like, I thought you were out of work, you should be home. Like, why are you out gallivanting? So there was all of this guilt, and I was kind of in self-quarantine. I only left the house for essentials, right? I had to take my daughter to school. I went to the store and everything like that. So this season reminds me a lot of that season. So I kind of wanted to talk about that with you guys tonight. I was so busy being busy, my body didn't know how to shut down, how to slow down. My doctor said I had to sleep 9 to 10 hours a night. And that's why I got 3 months off of work. So he said, 3 months off of work, I get the sleep that I need. I couldn't sleep. Right? If you're working a 12-hour shift, there's no way you can get 10 hours of sleep a night. Because I'm 12 hours at work, so that's not 12 hours on the job, not counting turnover and commute time. So it was actually like a 14-hour day for me. And that doesn't include like having to do all the mom stuff and making sure the house things are taken care of. And so in that season, I had such a hard time just relaxing, even if it was doctor's orders. And before that, I actually didn't believe in watching TV. I didn't believe, like, we didn't even have cable TV until I got married. Like, I didn't watch network television. Like, we just were a Netflix family for about 6, 7, 8 years maybe. And we were fine, because honestly, we were never home to watch TV. We're always at church, practice, like driving all over the island, just doing our thing. We were never home, so it didn't make sense for me to pay for cable TV, right? And so how I healed myself was I put myself on a Netflix and chill, because for me, I had all these thoughts, just like to do, like my to-do list was just like the worst enemy for me. And in order for me to fall asleep, I had to watch something that would take my mind off of, right? Like my mind would shut off because I was watching something on TV, if that makes sense. And so Netflix helped me cure my adrenal burnout, I'll just be honest. And I feel like in this season, a lot of you may be experiencing something like that, where, you're not used to having to slow down, having to stay home, having to just chill and like do nothing. So that's one piece. Then there's the other piece. So I didn't have to deal with this much, because every time I would try and get up and do something, my husband would tell me, hey, you're not supposed to be working, you're supposed to be resting. And he kind of commanded me to just chill and rest. But I know before that, right, I would, before the 6-in-1, our normal work schedule is 2 days on, so 2 12-hour shifts, and then 2 days off, and then 3 days on for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then we would rotate in and out of that schedule, like just over and over and again. And so for me, I did like a feast and famine house care, or, home, what do you call it? I don't even know what it's called, but, taking care of the home management. I don't know. The 2 days on that I was working, I'm working for 12 hours. So I'm not going to do laundry. I'm not going to really clean. I mean, I'll clean up the kitchen and I'll get my lunch ready and stuff, but that was it. And then on my days off, I would schedule all the cleaning, washing, all of the mom things. So I had the work hat, then I had the mom hat on my days off. And I just feel like right now in this season, everything is coming to a head, right? We're supposed to be relaxing at home, but we don't have any excuse anymore, right? Like when I was supposed to be resting, I'm like, all of the to-do list, because you keep to-do lists on your phone, right? So all of the backlog of personal to-do list for around the house, like cleaning the baseboards or washing all the rugs, or I don't know about you, but I'm slightly germophobic even before the COVID thing. So I would love just cleaning and making sure everything was clean because I'm just that kind of person, But then I would use the excuse that I'm working, so I can't clean. And then on my days off, I would like boom, 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 like really try and get everything done and like work myself harder when I was at home than it was when I was at work. And it really felt like a vacation. Like my routine hasn't changed at all. So, but I was talking to someone right before I hopped on this live, and we were talking about all the things. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I should address this in the group because I don't feel like we're alone. Like she and I are not alone in thinking about these things. And we're also talking about mom guilt. For those of us who work outside the home, or even for us who work inside the home. Right now, I'm feeling a little bit of wife guilt because I've been in my office all day. I stepped outside of the office for like a little bit in the afternoon, and then I came back in because I had another call. That's just how it is, right now. There's a lot happening. There's like pivots are happening inside of my business, and there's also going to be pivot happening inside of this group. So that's another thing I'm going to address at the end of this video. But yeah, how many of you out there, whether you're watching now or you're watching the replay, have that feeling of, oh my God, I have so much to do. I don't have the excuse of, I'll get to it later on my day off, because now all of a sudden everyone is stuck at home. You can't leave. There's no Bible study. There's no kids sports. There's no like rushing, like being the chauffeur and being, on all these different committees. I mean, you may still be in session over Zoom, so I'll give you that. But, being at home, like, I know how it was for me, that it felt like, oh my gosh, I'm a lazy bum. Like, I'm here sitting at home doing nothing when I should, hashtag I should, or air quotes should, be doing something. Like, and so this leading me to point number 3, where the doing, right, the human doing versus the human being, right? Like, check me if I'm wrong, but I will put money on it. Again, check me if I'm wrong. If doing all the things is a piece or part of you feeling or receiving significance, right? Like being driven, being ambitious. I think most of you in here might have your own business or aspire to have your own business because you just want to leave corporate because corporate is sucking the life out of you right now. I was forced with this. When I was out of work, I got a lot of my self-worth and my significance from going to work. Hey, Mary Beth. There's a lot of significance that I got from going to work and getting a paycheck and having, right, I had a team. So being a leader, being a manager, and managing a team gave me a sense of worth and a sense of, like hashtag I got this, and I'm here making 6 figures, like class reunion, I roll up in my Mercedes, all the things. It's like, wow, I mean, I didn't buy myself the Mercedes, my husband bought it for me, but still, I derived a lot of my self-worth and my significance on the outside, like what I was presenting on the outside. And it took me like staying home from work. I stayed home like 100% for 3 months. And then I was on like light or modified duty. I did like 20 hours a week and then 30 hours a week. And then almost full time, but no night shifts. And so, no night shifts for like about a year, until my body had healed itself enough and I got released to go back to work. And so, there's this whole part of not feeling worthy of doing anything when I was out sick. When I was getting sick pay, but I felt like I wasn't earning any income, so therefore I had to punish myself and like not spend any money or like ask for permission because it was my husband's money. And if I wanted anything, like I didn't, like money was coming into my bank account, but he was like giving me supplemental. And then we had to I was like, I'm really not making the bills, because everything was coming out of my account. I was a single parent for a really long time. He moved in with us, and so everything was already coming out of my account. So he just was giving me money from his account into mine. And I was just like, I'm not making the bills right now. Because I was on a fixed income because, sick pay and all of that. And he's like, why didn't you tell me you needed more money? I was like, well, I'm not working. So I'm like, I was trying to earn my keep, so to speak, by like trying to just hustle and make it on my own. And like, and then we had a conversation that said, I'm not making any money right now, or I'm not making the money that I used to make. And he's like, but we're in this together. Why do you feel like you have to lone wolf it and do it all on your own? And I didn't realize that up until that point, I was so like, even though we had been married for like already a couple of years, I wasn't used to having someone take care of me. And I realized I got my feelings of significance and self-worth through the doing. And so, let me just check my notes real quick. Yeah, and so, if you're similar to me and you feel like you're on a mission to prove your worth, or even in this time of COVID, like maybe you got laid off, or maybe like even your husband got laid off. And I know this is a bigger deal for men than it is for women, right? They get their worth and their significance from doing as well. We just do in a different way, right? Yes, I know like men who aren't really producing income, it affects them emotionally and they feel like less than a man because they're not bringing in income. So, but for us, let me just say this, if you're in a place where you feel like you have to prove something and you feel like you're just working, like being stir crazy and like being at home has not been a gift. It has been not the gift of relaxation and ease and everything. Like, oh, you're not working, you're just staying at home. Of course, right? If you have younger children or school age children, you are also a teacher, and on top of mothering and on top of like trying to manage your food supply and all of that, doing all the things. But if you have a moment to just sit with it and just really check in and see, like, why am I working so hard? Why am I trying to do all the things? Yes, of course you love your family. There's no question. But what is the source of the being so busy and, hashtag doing all the things? Just really sit with yourself. And yeah, I'll challenge you this week, like, just sit with yourself and just, with the time that we have, right? There's a lot of just sitting around time. Or, I've really used this time to really get focused on reading my Bible, getting into my word, and really getting face to face with God and say, okay, God, there's so many things out of my control right now. What can I do? What do you want me to do in this season? Because I know, I just feel it in my bones that, yes, we are in like this hibernation quarantine phase, but as soon as we come out, there's going to be like the people who have not pivoted swiftly are going to be left behind. And I don't want to be one of those people that are left behind. I want to be one of those people who are thinking about the future and how can I still be of service? How can I still be relevant in my business going forward? And so, I wanted to also just end here with a prayer tonight, a prayer for all of you, and hopefully, we'll just see what God has to say. Dear Lord, just come before you tonight, and I just thank you for the conversation that I had with my friend tonight about all the things and why doing all the things makes us feel significant, and why we're going through life and using our busyness to keep us still stuck. And God, I just pray for anyone who's listening to my voice right now, whether it's like now or even 5 years from now. God, I just ask that you really speak to them and you really talk to them. God, won't you hold them in your embrace and let them feel your love, let them feel your presence, and let them know that they are enough just the way that they are. Whether they have COVID crazy hair, they've been in sweatpants for 3 days, they're eating ramen and Spam because that's all they have in their resource and supply right now. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that they're less significant. All it means is that you have provided, you're taking care of them, even with the smallest of provision, Lord. You still love us, and you're here, you're taking care of us, and we just thank you for that. We thank you, Jehovah Jireh, for being our provider. And God, we just give you all the praise and the glory in this time as we sit in quarantine, and we allow you to permeate our hearts and our minds, and allow you to wash us with the water of your word. And we just thank you so much for being who you are and being in control of everything. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So, hope you guys are doing good this week. And I'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye.